Rock Salt Musecast Experience with Aaron and Dave. And on the Zoom call right now, we've got, help me out here, Aaron.
Dispraised.
There you go. Dispraised. I didn't need the help. I knew it. I just wanted you to kick in on it. And there's the live studio audience.
We got Tom from Idaho and Justin all the way from Independence, Kentucky.
All the way from, see, and that sounds like a beautiful place to live. Is it Independence, Kentucky?
It's gorgeous out here, and I'm only like 12 minutes from Cincinnati too. So. Oh,
really? See, and that it looks beautiful. That's not a green screen behind you. That's the real deal, right?
It is.
and see, I want to be independent. I'd like to live in independence, I think.
That's true.
All right. So you guys are in the band Dispraised. Now, I want to I love the stuff. I listen to the songs. I love the stuff. The name of the band is the first thing that stuck out to me. Where did you come up with the name Dispraised?
So there's probably a real cool way of telling the story, or just the quick factual way. The quick factual way is I've always been a huge fan of old punk band called Discharge, and I'd always told myself if I ever started another punk band, it would be a dis band. So I pulled out the old dictionary and started digging through and looking through for words that stood out to me that made sense. And Dispraised popped out. And just knowing what the style of stuff we were going to be putting together was, and the meaning behind the word, it all worked well. So that's how the band name came out.
I didn't even know it was a real word, Aaron, until I was doing my research on the band, and I went, "Oh, it is a real word." It makes sense.
Learn something new every day.
And I'm kind of a grammar Nazi, so
yeah.
You got one on me. You taught me something. Now, you guys are old school punk, or heavily influenced by old school punk. You got an old school punk sound.
Yeah.
And so I was playing some of your stuff. My son is totally into punk, and I was playing some of your stuff, and I went, check this song out. And it's got a little bit of a Rancid feel. And
yeah.
I'm sorry, it was I can't remember. I'm so horrible with names. It was Crown.
The Crown.
Okay, yeah, the Crown. He's like, oh, I dig this. And we just saw Rancid and Dropkick Murphys last night at the Aftershock Festival, and I went, you guys should have been smack dab in the middle of these two, just sandwiched in there. It would have been the greatest punk show. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I would assume that those bands are some of your influences, correct?
Yeah, I would say, and a lot of the 2 songs or 3 songs right now that are out on Spotify, I do have to say, or give a disclaimer, I guess, that those are the first songs that we'd ever written together as a band. And so actually those tracks don't even feature Justin on them. That's just a drum machine that's being used for the drum tracks on those songs. They are on a 7-inch record that we're having pressed right now that'll be released at the end of this month. There's those 3 songs. I think on Spotify right now there's a Christmas track we did for a Rottweiler Christmas compilation last year. There is The Crown, Control. I think those are the 3 songs that are on Spotify right now. And then the 7-inch has a 4th song that is like a super raw song that it's just a B-side. It was the first one we ever did together. So the sound from those tracks on Spotify is a little different than where we're at now with Justin on the Skins. But yeah, definitely that project, the earlier project that has Control on it, and The Crown is a lot more skate punk sort of driven. Definitely has some Rancid, some Vans Warped Tour sort of influence to it. When the new album releases, and it should be out here at the end of the month or so too as well, you'll see that there's been a lot of maturity added to it. A lot more of, I would say, like a Black Flag, maybe like Bad Brains sort of influence
Nice.
to what we're doing. So
Nice. I love that there are bands that are keeping that old school punk alive.
right. Yeah.
It's
It's needed. And I mean, you know, what's frustrating, I guess, is that it kind of feels like the punk scene in general has kind of been hijacked by an ideology and by just a certain type of person that I don't really identify with. So punk rock in 2020 is not punk rock to me anymore. So like I'm really happy when I hear a band that's reaching back to the roots of what punk rock is and pulling some of that back out of it, if that makes sense.
You know, it's
Well,
interesting. Oh, I don't know who I cut off.
No,
Go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say, like, and off of what he was saying, that's one of the main reasons I contacted him and pretty much asked to be in his band, because it was the punk rock I remember. All this new punk rock just
It's
pretty much
lacking.
tells you to listen to everybody else, and just nothing's there anymore. There's no substance.
Well, you know what I found interesting about the punk scene lately, which is, old school punk was about not conforming and not being part of the mainstream and all that. And now the punk bands, they've embraced this, these politics and everything, that they're conforming, but they're on the face, they're telling you don't conform, but be like us. And we want everybody to conform to be like us, which makes no sense. It's so anti-punk.
Yeah, you have, and I'm really bad about shying away from controversy, but you have bands like Anti-Flag. We'll just call them out. That their whole aesthetic, their whole like image is the upside down flag. They're political, they're anarchists, they're all this stuff, and then their vote for Bernie come election time. Like,
right.
I'm so out of my mind. Like, I don't understand what's going on. You know what I mean? And
right.
so, I mean, and I don't even care. Honestly, I would rather. So we just did a thing with our school board here. I'm 35 years old. I got 3 kids. Been married for 16 years. I've been getting involved with our school board because there's been a bunch of just crazy political stuff going on, and the thing is with like bands like Anti-Flag and all this is they really push this whole other narrative, like you're saying, that's just everybody is going along with the flow, and nobody's getting involved and actually trying to change anything, and nobody's getting involved in actually like really doing anything besides what they're posting on the internet. You know what I'm saying? And so I would like to not only kind of leave a legacy with this band that we had a lot to say, but that we're also doing our part as people to change things on a political basis. All of us are Christians. All of us are involved in our communities on a level of faith. But when it comes to politics and just the message that we're putting out, I think it's important that all of us are actually active, and so that's something that we're doing.
Well, I think the roots of punk music in general is politically based. I mean, I really can't, maybe the Ramones. I can't really think of a punk band that doesn't have their politics involved in what they do. Now we saw, I don't even want to give this band any credit, so I'm not even going to say their name, but we saw a punk band yesterday or day before on our Aftershock Festival. And as I was walking through the crowd, I'm not going to go into the whole rant that this girl was doing, but she said essentially we need to destroy the patriarchy. And at the same time, she said the government isn't doing enough to take care of us. We need the government to take care of us. And number one, as I walked through the crowd, I heard a lot of people saying, get off the stage. F that. I'm not listening to this. Just go. Nobody was buying that view. My view was, does she know what the U.S. government is? It's the patriarchy.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, have an argument, but at least have an intelligent argument, please.
Yeah, sure. And then get on your iPhone and complain about capitalism. It's a pretty amazing world we live in.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? I'm not a Bible scholar. That's Aaron, but this is exactly what the Bible talked about. I mean, it predicted this, that people would do this sort of thing. You know, it's like when I always go back to this one, you know, when bad with names, Pilate, you know, he said, you can have Barabbas or you can have Jesus. And the crowd said, give us Barabbas. And I see that going on here all the time. You know, you can have the criminal or you can have this guy. The criminal, we want him. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. But, you know, it's if you dig into your Bible, there it is. This has been going on for years.
Yep.
So you are a driving force and not conforming in the punk market because you're not on that side. Your politics are not on that side of things. Right.
And you know, there are a lot of bands that I know of, several Christian bands that are being a little more politically vocal, but it's definitely from like a far right perspective, which to me personally, and I can't even speak for everybody in the band on this one, but for me personally, that's just as repulsive as speaking from a far left perspective. And so I don't really connect. And I think that we're at a spot in this country right now that we're so divided, and it sucks that we are, but at the same time, I feel like it's actually a really good thing because we're so divided that we're all starting to come to the understanding that both sides are incorrect. So we've got to find somewhere in the middle.
Some common ground.
Right. And so being able to be in the middle of that and understand that, there's some social aspects of the left that need to be addressed. And yes, the capitalism has been what has made this country and any successful country in the history of mankind a economic force. So there's things on both sides that we've got to really just kind of, okay, like, you know, capitalism isn't terrible. It can be used for good, but if it goes too far to the right, then you start getting into some messed up stuff. And social issues are, yes, we need to take care of the homeless. We need to take care of the widows. These are all biblical concepts. So as Christians that are so anti-left, it's hard to you come to a crossroads where you have to deal with your faith and understand that some of these things that the left is really pushing are actually very biblical concepts that need to be addressed. But when you just throw the baby out with the bathwater on both sides of things, you end up nowhere. And so I think that's where we're starting to really get as a society, and we're starting to see that there's a common ground in the middle. And until the extremists on both sides of that can deal with themselves, then we're going to continue to have this crazy atmosphere that we're in right now. But eventually, I feel like everybody's going to start leveling out, and hopefully there will be some unity in that.
Yeah, I hope so too, because I mean, I'm not going to say that there aren't some things in our country that don't need to be fixed. We definitely need to fix some things here. Yeah. The media who I point my finger at because they're the catalyst. They're the one that ignite that fuse on what's going on. And on both sides, I've watched Fox News and been yelling at the TV, you know, the same way I watch CNN and yell at the TV. Yeah. So I don't appreciate people skewing the facts or lying to me. And that's when what I get upset about. It really is a matter of scratch the surface, dig a little deeper, do some research, and then form your own opinion which is what punk is about, isn't it? Isn't that what the punk scene is about? Form your own opinion, be your own person.
Yep, not anymore. Shut up.
Spoken like a true drummer.
Yeah, it's everybody afraid to get canceled. You say the wrong thing, but I think we have to do, instead of the politically correct thing, we have to do what's morally right.
Yeah,
and both sides need to come together and figure it out. And if you can't agree, you let, just like America, you let the voting public, vote which side they want.
right.
I mean, elections have consequences, and this is where we are as a country with things. But I'm tired of seeing politicians play political games when they don't do things morally right, and that needs to happen from both sides.
I agree.
Yeah, sure. And,
I agree.
You said something there that kind of outlines something about us as a band. You said that people are afraid to be canceled. We're nobody. We started out as nobody. We realize we're nobody and recognize we're nobody. The three of us know that nobody, I mean, we're nothing. And so without Jesus, without Christ in our lives, we're the scum of the earth. We're the bottom of the barrel. So you can cancel us. We don't care. So because of that, we're not afraid to open our mouths, and we're not afraid to say what everybody else is wanting to. So that's one of the beauties of being a Bible believing Christian that just has no fear of what's out there. We're really wanting to just speak our minds because we feel like there's nobody else out there that are really speaking it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've been saying, is that if you're founded in the Bible, and you got your Christian beliefs, I don't understand how you can consider yourself a supporter of what a lot of the things that the left wants to do right now. I just don't understand it, and I don't judge anybody for it. I'm honestly saying I don't understand. Could you explain it to me? And in return, I get cancel him type of thing. And cancel culture is nothing more than a schoolyard bully that once you say, go away, just stop, go away. They do, because you're not worth the effort. When I started this show, I said I didn't want a preachy type of, Christian radio. I just wanted an average sitting around talking. If we talk about Christian things, great. If we talk about music, great. Whatever, just be real people. And I said, if anybody ever comes along at any point and says, hey, you're not Christian because of this, or you should be canceled because of that, or whatever, I would tell them, have a nice day and don't ever listen. Yep. That's the greatest thing. Have a nice day. Don't ever listen. And because just as you said, we're starting out ground floor, and really, God is the one leading everything.
Sure.
And he'll make sure if you're canceled or not, right?
Yep.
What are we going to do here? I'd like to do the crown. Can we do that?
Oh yeah, the crown's coming up.
All right. So we're going to do the crown here. We're going to come back and talk to this. I just did it. I was going to say disparaged.
Dispraised.
Sorry about that. Dispraised on the Rock Salt Musecast Experience.